lovelies. Happy Friday! Who is in the house today? Who is ready to get this done? We got Q&A today. I love me some Q&A. There's always some really good questions. Today, you guys did not disappoint. You lit it up, and I can't wait to answer all your questions. So come on in. Hello, Denise. Good to see you. Happy Friday. There's my girl, Marla. Marla's in the house. Who else is here? Hi, Sarah and Yvonne. Nice to see everyone. Come on down. Susan, hello. Hello, hello to you, Gwen. And Joanne is here, of course. There's my girl, Marguerite. And guess who just showed? There's Jenny. It is Friday, and you know what that means, right? It's Q&A, and we have some amazing questions, and I cannot wait to get to all of them and get them answered for you. We have a lot on our plate. It's probably going to be an hour-long show, so if you can't make it through the whole thing, do record. You know, it's recorded, and you'll be able to go and take a look at all of it. But I'm going to tell you what, we got some really good questions, and I like it when it's like, oh yeah, well, there's this, that, and the other thing. I need to go research that. So I've got your answers. You've got the questions. So let's get busy on that. First of all, the other thing is this is flying out the door, the Just Juice Veggies. If you don't have it yet, what are you waiting for? One of the things that I love about Just Juice Veggies is you get in every single scoop 7 to 9 servings of fruit and vegetables. Hello. I don't know about you, but everyone that I know, it has some kind of a vegetable deficit. I'm always going to harp on you eating your vegetables, but I'm always going to say, you know, we can supplement. There are things that we can do. So grab this. There's also no alfalfa in it, and that's absolutely 100% huge, especially if you have an autoimmune disease like I do, because it can cause a cascade of autoimmune symptoms. You don't want that. So make sure if you're taking some kind of a greens drink, go look at the label. Make sure it is void of alfalfa. It's just cheap fillers, why they do it, you know? Yeah, there's some nutrients in there, but you know, if it's gonna cause a cascade of symptoms, throw 3 in your cart, we'll send you the 4th one free. That's right, 4th one free. Also, you get free shipping. Ships free in the promo window. I don't have to tell you this will not last long. It's flying out the door. So take advantage. When we have sales, y'all. We have sales. So, yeah, and then the other thing is we're sending out a bunch of Mindful mugs. You order $200 worth of supplements. Stock up, I always say, because when they're in, they're in. You know our supply chain. We still have, you know, a virus going around, and it is affecting everything. As a matter of fact, we've had to go to white bottles for our body clutter supplements simply because black bottles are not available because of COVID. It's one thing after the other with this stupid virus. Don't we all hate it? You know, send me hearts if you hate the virus. I mean, I hate this stupid virus. Anyway, I'm just letting you know what's what. I've got a lot of questions. I've got a couple of big questions on supplements, and I will go through all of them for you, okay? So I'm going to take you on a field trip through the supplement land. So anyway, that's what's going on with that. So when I tell you that we've got a lot in and you should stock up, listen to me. I've got inventory counters on everything that I have in my shop as well. Just to tell you, I just want to show you and verify, I am not kidding. They will fly out the door. And I'm happy to stock you up, and I'm also happy to help you in any way that I can. That's why we carry the supplements that we carry. You know, it's just a great thing. So $200, I'll send you a Mindful mug. It's a wonderful thing because being mindful about what you're doing changes the whole trajectory of your life completely, 100%. Our quote of the day, of course, is from Deepak Chopra. The most creative act you will ever undertake is the act of creating yourself. Underline the act of creating yourself. Here's the thing. And this is the quote that just made my eyes light up, blew the top of my head off, and I thought about it in creative terms, in terms of what have I done in my life? I created a career. I created an industry. Reader's Digest said I'm the mother of menu planning. I created these different things in my life on purpose because it was part of the plan that I had for my life and what I wanted. I got to do that. Marla's done that. And sometimes it comes this way like, wow, I didn't even know this was going to happen. But the important part is when you get a hold of your life and you get the basics handled, you get your nutrition handled, you get your house handled, you have a plan afoot, you know what you're going to do next, and you know that it's going to take a little doing and it takes a little application, then you become conscious of your life. You're no longer just on automatic pilot, just sitting there with Netflix and your phone, letting life pass you by. You participate. That's what tomorrow is about. And tomorrow is Saturday. And all day, Marla and I are going to be here for you, helping you put together this life, helping you to create the life that you want to lead. And I know it's one of vibrancy. I know it's one of, you don't want to be bikini models. You want to have a life that you want to lead. You want to stop saying no to things that you want, right? If you've ever been obsessed with the way your body looks and just thinking, beating yourself up continually, hating your house, hating this, hating that, and just really in a negative framework, we're going to flip that for you. And we're going to give you the directions and the wherewithal on how to do this. You will walk away with needing to duct tape your head shut because we're going to blow the top right off. I'm telling you, I want you to get ready for this. I want you to get like Carla, get your notebook and your coffee ready. Get your shoes on, get your outfit laid out. Do all the things and be prepared to knock it out of the park because we're going to give you so much good stuff. You can go to savingdinner.com/house. Today's the last day to do it, you guys. It's the last day. And listen, if you can't make it and you're saying, oh, I don't want to miss this, but I can't make it, whatever, so what? Sign up anyway because you get the recording and you get the swag bag worth $140. I'm serious. All of the things. You get all of the things. This is something you don't want to miss. We've never done this before. And you know what? I'm telling duct tape is on the launch pad, said Lisa. That's hilarious. Well, you know what? We have to get ready for the. We have to understand that today, this is so cliche. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. Well, it is. Right now, today is as good as it gets. What if tomorrow could make it even better and could even turn everything around and take the stuff that you hate out and replace it with stuff you'll want? That's how I look at it. And I'm going to do everything within my power to deliver on that front. And I know Marla is too. We are like nattering little, magpies with each other. We can't wait. We can't wait because we have so much that we want, from heart to heart, we want to share with you. So please show up. Come on. It's $47, but you get $140 in swag bag stuff that all support the journey of what you're trying to accomplish anyway. It's time. savingdinner.com/house. Get on it right now because we're here to support you, I think we need to jump in to some good stuff. I've got questions galore for you. Questions. And these questions are fantastic. It tells me you're thinking, you're paying attention, you're all about getting the best that you want out of your life, which I totally admire. This is what we're all about here. This is the thing that we do right here every single day. So Jillian has a question. Let's go with Jillian's question. And she says, my question is, how can you help me see the value of eating meat and not be afraid it will cause constipation? I like meat, but I stopped eating it a couple of years ago to ease digestion and increase fiber and plant-based foods because I'm prone to constipation and bloating. I do eat fish. Likely a contributor to the above, I appear to be programmed since childhood to overeat and have meddled with food and fought with food issues for 35 years since my teens. I'm gradually implementing your guidance and soulfulness to bring an end to this bad habit. It was a big step forward to me to make and try the bone broth from cord-fed organic chicken. It's a mind shift. As you know, fear can surround foods one has eliminated. Grateful for all your love and generosity. Love, Jillian in the UK. This is so good. Okay. Let's talk about this. Well, first of all, let's understand what meat does. Okay, meat is is protein, and it builds the protein in your body. As we get older, we need more protein, but not too much, because that can cause blood sugar issues. And finding your sweet spot is part of your journey. And I always recommend 4 to 6 ounces for the average size woman. If you're smaller, go with the 4. If you're larger, go with the 6. We don't need to be eating big stomping steaks the size of our heads. We're women, we're not lumberjacks, and I promise you, none of us are out there laboring in the fields. I know that for a fact. So meat, lower amounts of meat mean you have less calcium, magnesium, you have less omega-3 fatty acids, you have less B vitamins circulating in your body, and especially B12. You also are less likely to get enough vitamin D unless you're spending a whole bunch of time outside in the sun. And there is a real problem with a deficit of especially the B12s. And my hairdresser always used to say, when he sat a woman in his chair, he could always tell if she was a vegan just by touching her hair. He said it felt like straw. And you have to understand, from the inside out is how everything works. This is where the deficits work. This is why we don't feel inflammation at first until it works its way out into your joints and what have you. But that, first things first, the first thing to get fed, the first thing to get the nutrients is your absolute gotta have systems. Your circulatory system, your heart, your kidneys, your liver, all of these things need the nutrients first. So we put big band-aids on everything and take all kinds of stuff to cover up the pain when we're not really taking care of the bottom line business, which is getting enough nutrition in. That's crucial. And when we take away one of the things that we are designed to eat, we have canine teeth. What does that tell you? Canine teeth are for ripping meat, just like dogs. We are omnivores. That means we eat everything. And that is how we're designed. Our physiology, our biology tells us what to eat. It's that simple. And I'm never going to go down that path with a vegan ever again. I've done that once before, and it's been an ugly thing. I respect vegans, especially conscientious vegans who want to eat appropriately and properly. But you always have to be super aware that if this is the lifestyle that you're choosing, that you need to be up on your supplementation, because you could have a real crash and burn. 2 very high profile former vegans that I know abandoned ship and just got obsessed with eating a steak and a hamburger, each one of them, because they were just feeling horrible. And that was the B12 deficiency catching up. And once they ate that meat, they felt rejuvenated. So again, I'm telling you from this particular point of view, and there's a lot of other evidence out there. There's evidence, you can find scientific evidence to support whatever bias that you have and the way that you want to live your life. And for me, my bias is I do it all I go back to just what seems logical to me. And if your physiology is that we are not carnivores, we're not herbivores, we are omnivores, then that's what makes sense. We have the ability and the breakdown. Our digestive enzymes help us break out all down. So it makes sense, right? That's why I look at that. The constipation problem, I'm going to tell you, there's 2 reasons. Goodmer, I'm glad. She said, I'm a vegan, but I take B12 supplements every day. There's a lot of vegans who won't, because usually B12 supplements come from a meat source. So I'm proud of you. That's absolutely 100% critical. And just check your blood tests. Always your blood tests. Your blood tests tell the story of what's going on inside of you. If you have inflammation, take a look at what's causing that. Take a food journal and just make sure that you're up on everything that you need. For vegans, for omega-3 fatty acids, a good source is chia seeds, flax seeds as well, different things like that. But make sure that you are absolutely on point. Don't eat by default. You can't. None of us really should be, but vegans especially need to be extraordinarily vigilant with their diets. All right, so that's one thing about eating meat. Now the constipation thing. Here's the constipation thing. It's fiber and it's fluid that moves things through. I want you to think of your digestive tract as a garbage disposal. What happens if you stuff your garbage disposal Don't run the water and don't flick the switch. It's going to be pretty putrid after a while. And that's what happens exactly inside of you when you're not pooping. You should be pooping daily, and you should be pooping great big long poops that curl on the bottom of your toilet like a snake. Disgusting, right? We talking about poop, but you need to know what a healthy poop looks like, you know? If you're going splatter in the john, or you're just like little pellets in the john, that's telling you what's going on. Little pellets is saying you're not hydrated enough. Splatter means your digestion is on and you've got some kind of irritation or inflammation going on. We need the fiber. 5% of Americans get enough fiber. 5%. And when you consider that colon cancer is the #1 cancer for women, #1, not breast cancer, colon cancer, and it's due very oftentimes to a lack of fiber. We need 25 to 30 grams a day, and we need to have adequate water to move it through. So remember that analogy that I just gave you about your digestive tract being a garbage disposal? To get it going, you need to flick the switch and get the water going. The switch is your fiber, and the water is your hydration levels. And we're going to be talking about that too. We've got a question about hydration. So keep all of this in mind. It's a false, dichotomy here. They're just not related. The thing, it's not the meat, it's the lack of fiber. Yes, Terry, we have a whole line of supplements, and I'm going to be going through them because I had somebody asking questions about them, and I'll show you the whole thing of what we have. So the whole thing is just, it's really very, it's very simple. The more green, the more vegetables, the more fiber that we're eating, the better our digestion. As we get older, we need a little help with digestion oftentimes because our digestive capabilities naturally from age start to dissipate a little bit. Isn't that just so awful? I mean, as we get older and wiser, I think everything should pump up, don't you? Instead, we're scampering around, for all the, the face creams and fixing your hair and trying to lose the weight. I think we should start off old and age backwards, because then we're smart and then we know what to do with all the stuff that God gave us. That's my thought. God, if you're listening. Anyway, she's also said that she has a tendency to overeat. Overeating is a separate issue, and it isn't about meat. And I will tell you that the research is showing us that our addictions to food really are never about real food. We may default to going to real food because the junk's not available. But I promise you, if you had a bag of chips versus a piece of steak in your refrigerator, you're going to go for the chips. No one can eat just one. You've heard that before. And our food issues are oftentimes, there's an emotional component to it that could be attached to a whole string of things. Abuse, abandonment, neglect, all of those things. That's #1. And #2, the whole thing is that we're trying to fill a void. What is the void? Well, a lot of times we have to look at it from a physiological point of view, a biological point of view, and we have to look at the emotional attachment and all the other stuff that goes with it. We have to work on all of it. When we're working on all of it, we're working on physiological. So I will show you right here, physiological. You've got a craving, you can cut it off. See this? This is my L-glutamine. I'll explain it later. This L-glutamine, if you wet your finger, I am drinking, by the way, somebody asked what I'm drinking. This is hot melt mix. I will explain it when I go through and do the show and tell on the supplements. But L-glutamine is just a plain amino acid that helps to heal your gut, and it also helps to cut off cravings. Wet your finger, put it on here. Obviously, my hands are very clean. I just wash my hands. I'm ridiculous about that. You put it, gums, tongue. It's flavorless. It immediately goes to that pleasure center of the brain and cuts off the craving. It's unbelievable. There's a bunch of women in here who will tell you how incredibly fabulous it works. We have to work on that. The physiological thing we have to work at. But then we also have to go to the place of understanding, what's it attached to? What is this craving about? Is there an emotional component? Is there something? Do I have some kind of thing in it? Yesterday I talked about my whole, coming to this, the mind-blowing thing, had an epiphany while I was just keeping, you know, the M&Ms going. Absolutely insanity, and cutting up the roof of my mouth to the point of just tears running down my face, knowing and understanding that those M&Ms would never love me back. I was never going to get anything out of them. And it was a mind-blowing thing. I remember driving the car. I remember just thinking, God bless America. Here it is. You know, I'm trying to get love from something that can't love me back. It doesn't have the capacity for that. So we try to fill our little empty cups with things that just won't fill them up with. So we've got to look at that, and that needs to be examined always. That's part of the whole overeating part. You know, understanding what it's about, getting on the physiology part, and then working through whatever emotion part that there is, because there is. And I use a journal for that. We use Body Clutter Buddies. We're like in the weeds with this on a daily basis. When you just like, you know, push it into the back of your mind and you're not present and not understanding what the heck is going on with you, and not actively and purposefully going after that, you're going to find yourself in a whole world of hurt, and it's never going to get better. You have to actively take this on as a project. And those are the tools that we have for it, you know, and we go even deeper in the weeds when you're in Take Back Your Life or Hot Milk Club, and we really get into it. Okay, I'm just waiting for my lovely, there it is. Okay. So Joanne says, I recently discovered avocados. I have one sometimes twice a day on my collard greens. I have been gaining weight. How often can I have collard greens and not need bigger pants? I want to get back to the size I was before I discovered avocados. How many a week can I have safely? Sometimes I have one twice a day. I think 2 avocados a day is too much. I would go with, you know, a quarter of an avocado on a big avocado, or a half on a small, and that's plenty. Collard greens and avocados are not going to get you fat. The only other thing that I can think of is, you know, what are you cooking them in? What are you putting on it? What else is going on in your life? Cortisol levels. Are you under a lot of stress? Cortisol levels make your weight go up. Are you getting enough sleep? Are you hydrating? These are all the questions. You know, we have this tendency to go blame one thing because we've done something different, but that's not what it is. It's a whole conglomeration of things. We always have to look at all the different things that are going on and understand that it's a buffet table of hormones and situations and lack of this, lack of that, too much of this and too much of that. Those are the things that we have to be looking at. So troubleshooting this, I can see the possibly, you know, having avocado and collard greens, I say bravo. That's not going to make you fat. Having 2 avocados a day, that's overeating. Overeating anything, no matter how good it is going to lead to the same problems that eating a bunch of crap is, because it's inflammatory. Too much food is inflammatory, just like eating crappy food is inflammatory. We need to eat the right amount, and we have hunger hormones that will teach us how to do that. All we have to do is listen to them. Never eat unless you're hungry. Don't eat according to the clock, eating according to what your body tells you. Listen, you know, and then eat to when you are satisfied, not full. Never, 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 never. Don't. Because after that, it takes 10 minutes for your stomach stretcher receptors and your brain to connect. And you know what happens? 10 minutes later, your body's going to say, oh, you're fine, you've had enough, you're plenty. Otherwise, what happens is you eat and then you feel a little full, and then 10 minutes later you're going, oh, why did I do that? You know that feeling? That's what I call Thanksgiving full. Let's stop ourselves. And then the other thing I have is a hint for you, and I call it the reverse order of what you want to do. You want to go with, if you're still hungry, then go for something green. Have another helping of salad. And then the next thing would be to have a little bit more protein. So we're keeping the carbs low. I recommend that highly. Most women need to keep the carbs low. And if you are a woman with a waist circumference of over 35 inches, your body's letting you know you've had enough. You've had enough. Don't eat so much. Don't eat don't eat so many carbs. Carbs are not your friend, and we don't ever have to have carbs, by the way. Carbs are not a necessary thing. Our bodies can make them themselves. Okay, what else? This is from Cher. For someone who has never taken supplements or vitamins, which of your products would you recommend starting with, and then with progression slowly to add in the others instead of starting a bunch of new things at once? That's smart, Cher. So here's what you need to do. I say start with the core 4, and let me see where we are with those. 2, 3. I've got all the white bottles, and 4. My strong suggestion is that you go, I thought I had 4th, well, maybe I don't. Yes, I think so. Yep. Okay, so the reason that we start with what we start with, the core 4, this is just core. And this took a while to put together, because these are all our own supplements with our own proprietary formulas that I worked with according to the new research, and I worked with a formulator. That's what he does. And I said, this is what I want it to do. And he goes, okay, this is what you need to do. Back and forth, back and forth. We worked on them from January all the way till March, when we finally started getting them going. And then, of course, COVID, being as lovely as it was, gave us a bad time with supply chain. But the reason I'm saying that is most CalMags, for example, have a 3-to-1 ratio, maybe a 2-to-1 ratio. It's all wrong. The new research tells us we need to go with a 1-to-1 ratio. The magnesium is a whole lot more important, and the calcium is a very large, difficult to digest type of a molecule, because it's super big, and it can also cause kidney stones. And this is one of and plaque in your heart. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that the magnesium is helping the calcium move through. CalMags, our CalMags are done like that. Also super absorbent. The citrate, CalMag citrate is super helpful in that, the calcium citrate. We also need B complex. B complex. Now, B complex is important. It acts as a buffer for everything. Okay, so one of the things that stops weight loss is high stress, because cortisol levels go up and you stop losing weight. Basically cortisol takes over all your entire body. So the B complex and the methylated folate and B12, critical, because 60% of the population doesn't methylate on their own, meaning you just pee it out. It's worthless. Now, you will get a niacin rush in this, and that means that you get a niacin flush. You might feel tingly. You might feel like, oh gosh, something's wrong here. You might feel a little red and going, what is going on? And you might feel it. I feel it in my face. The first time I ever had it, it was just like, oh my gosh, what is happening here? And that is just a genetic thing. Some of us are predisposed to it. Other people, they just don't get it at all. What I do is just say, you know what? It's working. That's it. It's working. But your Bs are absolutely critical. Everything is built on Bs. Your protein breaks down so that they're vitamin Bs, and we need it on a daily basis, right? It's amazing. Denise says the core 4 is totally amazing. She sent us an incredible testimonial. This is something that we have such a deficit in, and I've shared my story about my daughter. When she had a car accident and they had whiplash and all of that, and they did the x-rays. The doctor went, see this right here? And he was going up and down her spine, and there was itty bitty holes everywhere. And he said she was this close to spina bifida. And I'm thinking to myself, what the heck? I took my supplements when I was, my prenatal vitamins and all of that. Well, come to find out later, after 23andMe, I have that gene. It's the MTHFR gene. And if it's mutated, you cannot methylate on your own. You need help. So take a methylated, give your body a break. Give your body a break. Yes, you take them all at one time, and you take them with a meal. These work with a meal. You know what? It's just, they're just riding on that food, and they're just being a part of your food and doing their thing. I take them every day, every single day. The CoQ10, go read about it. We have a link for the Wise Women's supplements. Jenny, what is it? Is it savingdinner.com/wise, I think? But if you go take a look at them, you can read all about them and the research that went behind them and why we formulated them the way we did. Same with the vitamin D. You need this vitamin D every day. We don't get it. You know, go do a test. Most of us have a deficit. That's why this core 4 is here. It is the core of what you need. If you just start here, you are starting with the right things. And we do have a multivitamin coming, and I like it. But my preference, that's for women who just absolutely 100% want to have, you know, a multivitamin. I like the core 4. I like the 4. And the other thing is, if you're taking vitamins that are eneric coated and they're hard, that's carnauba wax essentially. It's what they put on cars. You know, I don't know how well you're digesting it, but I will not do vitamins that or supplements of any form unless they're in a capsule. We need to be able to have our bodies assimilate it quickly. You know, we don't want it just sitting in there. You don't want to be pooping out whole centrums or one-a-days or whatever. I've got a story about that. You've heard it before. So that should help. And that's, I know you want to say 1, Cher, but I'm going to say 4. Just do the core 4. If you just do the core 4, you're going to basically hit everything. I'm talking about, Patricia's saying, I don't understand about heart. There's 2 different kinds of, let me see if I can show you in my, okay, here's where am I with my supplements? I don't want to open anything. Here, this one's open. There is such thing, this is a capsule. You want a capsule, a vegetarian, it's a gelatin capsules. There is no vitamin C in the core 4. My suggestion, I put vitamin C in a scoop. I use that, and I also use the hot melt mix in this drink because it's 1 gram of vitamin C, and then I take a couple of supplements as well. You know, we only could do, I wanted to do core 4. I didn't want to do core 8. I could do core 8. Most of us have a deficit in vitamin C as well. But, you know, you got to start somewhere, and I don't want to overwhelm people. That's why we did what we did. Okay. So I hope that was helpful. And yes, always, you know, there are certain supplements that you take on an empty stomach. There are certain supplements that you take not on an empty stomach, you know, and most of them you don't. And I will go through that because I think I have somebody. Is there an online ingredients list to your products? Are they proprietary products, or are you reselling another product line? They're proprietary. They're made. I got to do them. This is the first time I've ever done them. I have usually worked with good formulators who have done a good job with pharmaceutical grades, this, that, and the other thing, and they've done, but they're highly expensive. And then I turn around and sell them, and then I've got to raise, my prices are ridiculous, and I don't like that. So I finally found a supplement manufacturer that would work with me, and we could get better prices. And you can see we've lowered prices on most things that we could. And we've also given you great deals. So anytime we have something that we can turn into a great deal, we will. We get a whole bunch, like, you know, the Just Juice veggies. You get 3 buy 3, get 1 free. That's a huge savings. And then free shipping, you know, hello, why wouldn't you do that? Stock up, take advantage of this. Supplements are worthless unless you decide that this is a habit worth keeping. You know, it's a flash in the pan at that point. Your body needs something new every day. You don't wake up in the morning and say, hey, you know, I'm just not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna drink water today because I did that yesterday. No, we always need to be doing that. So that is our product line. And we have good stuff. We've got the glycozyme. I think this is, was this the question? Oh, there you go. Okay, I brought them all up here, and I'll go through them if we have time. But yeah, we have everything. Thank you for your generous soul. You're a sweetheart. Thanks, Cher. All right, Mary Ann is asking, will you please elaborate on where the equation of drink half our body weight in water came from and the science behind it? Happy to. Well, first of all, the science has been very clear, and the water drinking stuff needs to come from, we just need hydration. And that's one of the reasons why I've started this whole thing with hydration. Yes, water is core, but your coffee counts, your tea counts. Believe it or not, that's the new science. They dispensed of the myth that says that, you know, it's a diuretic and therefore it isn't. We need, how many ounces? We need at least 91 ounces a day. That is according to, the Mayo Clinic has that out, 91 ounces a day. I've done a formula on it because that shouldn't be across the board. You know, medications are adapted for people of different sizes, because if you are a 150-pound woman versus a 250-pound woman, one woman has 100 pounds more of body weight that needs to be, that needs to have the hydration levels going, right? So those hydration levels need to be different. So I look at it from the perspective of body weight. If you are a 150-pound woman, you need half your body weight in ounces a day, 75 ounces, easy. And then on and on. You know, we can easily do the math on all of it. It just makes sense. It makes your body work. Now, you can go into the weeds if you want on this. If you just put water drinking plus research and go to Google. You can go to PubMed and put water research in there and start reading all the science and all the studies on it. It's all right there, and it's all critical. Water does the job. Water is completely underrated. And remember what I said, there is a whole hierarchy of need. You start with what your body needs first, right? First. You can't just go and say, well, I've been drinking all this water and my skin doesn't look good. Let me just tell you something first. Your kidneys are going to be on the first line, you know, and your kidneys are going to say, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. Your blood is going to thank you. Everything will thank you. Everything benefits from hydration. Everything. And your skin is going to be the last thing. The skin is going to be that. So you go from the inside and out. That's how I always think about it. First things first. We want that heart working. We want that brain working. I take first thing in the morning when I get up and I'm making my coffee and doing these things, I take a whole glass of water down the hatch because it wakes your brain up. You know, there's evidence to support that. If you really want to get into the weeds, which I suggest you do, all the benefits of drinking water, everybody wants to talk about how pretty their skin is and how all this, that, and the other thing. That's the last thing that you're going to see. The first thing you're going to see is that you feel better, that you're thinking clearer, that, you know, you're not stuck with a kidney stone, because all of this stuff helps to flush this stuff out. And your gut is gonna say thank you. You're gonna poop like a queen. All of the things, body function first. Then we get to the pretty stuff. Then we get to say, ooh, nice plump skin. You know, that's how water works. So anyway, that's the science behind it, and there's so much out there. And you know, again, I'm going to drop the science bomb on you. You can go to the Mayo Clinic's website and find out about it. You can do a PubMed crawl and go take a look at it. But there's research study after research study after research study to support that. My little formula is only because I look at it and say, you know what? It has to be different because they're different sizes of bodies. And that's how I look at it. Okay. Does the water have to be a certain pH? You know what? I've heard all of that. No, is the answer for that. Thank you for all the good information you give us that helps us on our healthful journey. You are so welcome, Marianne. Yeah, don't worry about pH. You know what? Here's the first thing. You just need to be drinking water. I will say stay away from distilled water. Distilled water is good for, you know, like water that you'd put in for your iron, but not for you. We need the minerals. It needs to be filtered. Stay away from plastic bottles. Go with glass. Don't buy water anymore. Get a good filter system. I love my Berkey. I've had my Berkey forever. It's a Berkefeld. You can find them on Amazon. I've got a carbon filters in there, and I've got the clay filters in there. It's incredible. You take it apart once a month, give it a good scrubbing down. I run the whole thing through the dishwasher except the filters, washed by hand, using a clean Scott's, one of those green scrubby things. Put them outside, let Mother Nature take care of it with all the sun. And I've got good clean water. You know, we have an artesian well here anyway, but I don't trust wells. I don't trust anything. You know, the water's got to go through pipes. What are those pipes like? What kind of cooties are in there? Is there some E. coli floating around in there? Has some brain, you know, has there been any kind of, you know, groundwater issue? I don't know. So what I'm going to do, I tested the water, it was fine, but I'm still going to filter it. And I suggest everybody filter your water. Even if you get, something from one of those big box stores, something is better than nothing. And especially, we got to take the chlorine out. We got to watch out. They're showing in tap water that there's pharmaceuticals in there. Isn't that disgusting? Because people flush their old medications down the drain. They're finding Viagra in the water, ladies. No, thank you. I don't know about you. I don't want that. That's why I use a Berkey. Okay, this is from Angie. Okay, come on, honey. I understand. Just work with me. There it is. This is from Angie. I am not a diabetic and have never had any problems with my glucose levels. I've noticed my glucose going up since I've been doing the sprints. It is now in the 90s in some mornings, not all mornings. It was usually in the high 70s, mid 80s in the morning. I belong to a group that taught us to do self-tests like blood pressure, glucose, breath rate, breath holds in the morning. I read that some people doing keto have this issue. And I've also been taking more care, like not eating carbs after 3. I exercise every day and hydrate a lot during the day. What can you tell me about this? Thank you very much for all you do. Well, first of all, I love this, Angie. And I'm going to tell you right now, be like Angie. Do your work. We have to be our own advocates, If you've got, I just bought a blood pressure thing because I've been, in the weeds with my research, doing everything. And one of the big tests is your blood pressure and your blood sugar. Those two things are high mortalities. You have more of a chance of, all kinds of stuff happening if those things are out of control. So good for you for doing this. When we know our numbers, then we can do something to change them if they're not in our favor, right? Amen to that. So that's number one. But there's also a lot of things that we have to be looking at when it comes to this kind of stuff, because one of the things that these little blood glucose monitors do, they don't measure insulin. You have to remember that insulin and glucose, there's this homeostasis thing going, which is balancing things out. Whenever we eat, insulin gets released, and this affects our blood sugar levels. False readings all the time with these meters. They're not 100% accurate. That's another thing. The other thing is that the glucose lives. You've got it in your liver, of course, and you also have it living in your muscles. And so sometimes this stuff gets secreted when you're basically taking yourself into ketosis, and it might take longer for you to get into ketosis. And as that happens, and as you're going into this place of making the transition from being a sugar burner to being a fat burner, then the sugar's coming out of your muscles, essentially. The sugar's coming out of your liver. It gets stored everywhere. And it takes a long time. I'm one of those people, because I was like, what is this about? Why is this happening? And the name of this thing it's an adaptive thing, and it's called glucose sparing. And so what happens is the glucose is circulating in your blood, and your blood cells are going, I don't need you anymore. I'm good. Everything's good here. We've got enough in there. And so your blood glucose levels, automatically go up. But, we have to just look at it. If we do testing like this, then you should be testing in a 24-hour period all day long. There's another thing called the dawn phenomenon, and this happens too with people who are transitioning from being a sugar burner to being a fat burner, and that is that your blood sugar seems to artificially go up, and you're going, well, wait a minute, I haven't eaten anything. Well, this is God's way of making sure that you don't die. Your blood sugar goes up. When we're sleeping at night, our blood sugar is definitely down, and our blood sugar goes up because, some people, and I've talked to people, I've coached people like this. They'll get up in the morning and their blood sugar levels are so low, but they're getting on their way to the bathroom and almost pass out. Well, their blood sugar levels haven't had a chance to go up. So those are some of the things that happen. But anyway, so that's a secondary aside. The other thing is when you're switching over your diet, it's stressful. It is for everybody. It's not just okay, I'm just changing, I'm just going on this sprint. Cortisol messes with you. We have this tendency to just dismiss stress. We all live under stress. I get it. But we dismiss it too much instead of dealing with it. So cortisol will come in and say, oh man, you've changed my diet, and what am I doing now? And we're making all these changes. And again, from going from a sugar burner to being a fat burner. And as we make those changes, and just think about it for a minute, you're giving your body what it needs. You're healing your gut with the bone broth and all that collagen and giving it a protein that it probably hasn't had in a while because you're 97% deficit in this particular protein, right? So you're having that. You've got all this green nutrition and fiber going on. So you've got prebiotics galore in your gut, and everything is starting to settle down and get better. You're eating good, healthy fats, so your hormones are charging and firing correctly. And you're starting to retrain your hunger hormones. That's what the sprint's all about. And as you're doing it, though, you are making this transition, and your body's saying, hold up, this is stressful, and the cortisol levels go up. We've also had people say, I was a little sleepless. That's your cortisol levels going up. It is normal, and for some who are a little bit more sensitive, this is what happens. This doesn't, what Angie's going through, this doesn't happen with everyone, but it happens with some. So just know this, go with it, allow your body to do its thing, and one of these days soon, it'll pass like everything else. But Dr. Fung talks about this in his book, why can't I think of it? You know what it is, The Obesity Code. He talks about this because this is one of the things that can happen, and it's normal. Your body is, and sometimes your cholesterol levels go up, and that's your body dumping that stuff. So it's kind of cool. I hope that helped. Okay, where are you? We just have to wait on my little computer while it's thinking. It's not me, it's it. Come on, there it is. All right. All right, this is the question that is going to take you through all the supplements. So buckle up if you want to, get your knowledge on. Here we go. I'm getting confused with the phenomenal force and saving dinner supplements. Will you please break it down as what you take and what for what? For gut health, for weight loss, etc. Thank you, from Dina. All right, buttercups, let's do this. We have, I brought them all out here, so you're just gonna have to deal with me. Okay, we have 2 digestive enzymes. Why do you take digestive enzymes? Digestive enzymes are to help your digestive process. We don't want to squelch it. That's what Rolaids and Tums and all that crap does, which is dumb. What we want to do is we want to assist our bodies in the digestion. As we get older, and if you're over the age of 35, your digestive capacity just slows down. If you have had gallbladder surgery or you have a compromised gallbladder, like I do, still have my gallbladder, but I've had a couple of gallbladder attacks, so I know what that is. We need to assist our bodies to help break down the protein, break down the fat, okay? If you have digestive issues and you also are a little insulin resistant, diabetes or whatever, I love this supplement. It's called glycozyme. It's fantastic because it contains both help for the digestive process and help for your blood sugar processing, because they oftentimes go hand in hand. You don't want your blood sugar levels going skyrocketing. The other one we have is called digestymes, which I can't believe it's not here. I usually have it up here, but it's not here. Digestymes. So those are 2 different supplements, which is interesting. We don't have a lot of supplements, but I am adamant that people get their digestion in order. If you're not properly digesting, you're not getting your nutrition. If you're not getting your nutrition, you're in a nutritional deficit, and you're in this loop where you're not going to lose weight, your cortisol levels are going to go high, you're not going to feel good, you're not going to, this is the part of the carousel of crazy. We need nutrition to quell the inflammation. We need nutrition in our cells so that we can fire them up and be full of energy. We can't do that if we don't digest. So we got to start at the beginning. What are you eating, and are you digesting it? That is absolutely critical. If you're over the age of 35 and you found yourself in the place of just feeling like, oh my gosh, you're bloated, you're burpy, maybe you're farting, God forbid, that's totally socially embarrassing. Maybe you feel like you've just eaten a brick. Maybe, you've got breakouts or joint pain or whatever. all of this is associated with, at the very root, poor digestion. You know, you're not pooping every day, or you alternate between constipation and diarrhea, or, you know, and on it goes, or you find yourself popping Rolaids like they're candy. You know what Rolaids do? It says, oh, no more digestive enzymes for you. You don't need that. You know, you don't need that. We're just going to let it ferment and rot and putrefy in your gut. That's what it does. Because it's not the problem of having too much digestive juices essentially in your, it's just coming back up because you're not taking care of business. So if you have some digestive enzymes, some help down in there before the food gets there, your life will change. This was for me. This was for me. When I started taking digestive enzymes, I was like, holy cow, I'm a new woman. It started me also on the weight loss journey, because you don't lose weight if your digestion's out of it. You don't. That's why we have 2 different digestive enzymes. Okay? Putrefied. Good word, huh? Oh, no. Yes. Tums, no. Not good. What is Beauty Support? Beauty Support is a supplement that supports you making your own collagen. And along with taking collagen, this is our perfect paleo protein vanilla. We have chocolate and we have unflavored. And doing so, when you do this, you're getting a protein that we're just not eating anymore. Our grandparents did. You remember sitting at the table and they'd be eating chicken and they'd crack the bone and suck out the marrow? I watched my parents do stuff like that, you know? Yuck. But they were getting the collagen. They were eating the skin. They were eating the cartilage. Now we go to the store and we buy boneless, skinless chicken breasts. And everything is just so antiseptic and clean, and it doesn't even look like anything, right? They ate whole chickens back then. That's why we eat bone broth. That's why we do this. There's all kinds of things in there. There's collagen, there's glycine, there's lysine in there. There's all the amino acids, there's minerals in there. All of this together helps to support our basic structure. We're talking bones. In our bones, we have more collagen than we have calcium. And Beauty Support supports that. Not only that, but I live and breathe by this. Man, it makes your skin beautiful in conjunction with your collagen. So if you're in the habit of having a collagen smoothie in the morning, we call it the Target Trifecta Smoothie because you got fat, fiber, and protein in there. Lots of green as well, all cooling the inflammation. You're drinking your bone broth every day. You're taking Beauty Support. I double dog dare you to take a look at what your skin looks like today versus in 30 days. You're going to be shocked. And the other thing it does is it makes your joints a whole heck of a lot more comfortable. So this is a big deal. And I've had lots of testimonials when people are just loving their Beauty Support. When we had a special on this a couple of weeks ago, we sold out like that. And you know what? Stock up when we have it in stock, because this is the best stuff ever. It is support for the other support that you're doing. And it's just unbelievable. I've seen such a difference in my skin since I started taking it, and I love it. All right, Fiber Mender. Well, I was talking about this, and actually I have a question about Fiber Mender, so I'm going to keep that here, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. Okay, I'm going to do my couple of boxes. SAMe. SAMe is basically an enzyme, and it helps with mood and joints. And in the EU, it is a prescription medication for antidepressants. And let me just tell you something. I've taken this every single day since the late 1990s. And I did it because I was so full of carpal tunnel. I was at the time, I've shared this story before. I was a freelance writer, and I spent 8 hours a day writing different articles and what have you. And I just remember wincing in pain, you know, and tears rolling down my face. And a friend of mine who's a MD, functional medical doctor, right here in Charlotte, North Carolina, said, oh girl, SAMe to the rescue. I started with 200 milligrams, didn't do much for me. That's what we sell. But I do double. I do 400 milligrams. Game changer. And the joint pain went away, and I was always in a good mood. It really did help, because I've been prone to depression. Not anymore. Depression is gone. B-complex also works with depression. B-complex and SAMe together. Well, let me just say, do your research. But take a look at that, because antidepressants have all kinds of side effects. They also, you want to hear depressing? They help you gain weight. It's not unusual to gain 15 to 20 pounds when you're taking an antidepressant. That's depressing. This stuff is amazing. When do you take it? First thing in the morning on an empty stomach. First thing on the morning on an empty stomach is just, it's amazing what happens with you on that, because it does the work. And I would not be without it. This is why we carry it. We carry it because I am such a strong believer in it. I will never, ever, ever be without SAMe. So talk with your doctor. I do have a couple of coaching clients who've worked with their doctors, got off the antidepressants, and are on SAMe and are feeling pretty darn good. So what can I say about that? Probiotic. This is amazing. This stuff has so many. It has, how many is there in there? I could have told you 100 years ago, but inside of it, you've got 30 billion colony-forming units per capsule. Hello. These are the good guys. This is your army of good, beneficial bacteria that go in and they're duking it out with the bad guys. This is why we do prebiotic type stuff. You know, prebiotics are going to be fiber, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Fiber is a prebiotic, and it feeds the troops. It feeds these good guys. That's what we want. And so therefore, we're also needing every day to replenish the troops, because there's a war down there in your gut. And I take this every night before I go to bed. I take just a couple of sips of water. I don't want to have, be getting up in the middle of the night, but I take it on an empty stomach at night before I go to bed. This is when all the work is done. This is when your body is in healing mode. And all I do is add to their numbers so that they can do the job that they need to do. I'm all very visual about this too. Seriously. I think it's awesome. All right. Leptofix is taken in the morning also. On an empty stomach. Leptofix helps to fix your leptin. One of the things leptin and ghrelin are two hormones. They're basically your hunger hormones, and correcting them is what we're about. The one problem that we have with leptin is the thing that will say, okay, you've had enough, just stop eating. Ghrelin is the thing that will say, eat, eat, eat. I call it the gremlin for good reason, right? So we want gremlin to take a chill pill, and we want leptin to pump up. The problem is, as we start to lose the weight, is that the leptin gets broken. This fixes it, and this is why we take it on an empty stomach, and it does the job that it does. It's a phenomenal thing, and I love it. InflaCrusher. We all have some degree of inflammation happening on a regular basis, right? You're never static. Your body chemistry is changing by the minute, all the time. This is why if somebody says here, oh, look what your blood tests say, you need to take this medication for the rest of your life. I say to you, be proactive and say, this is just one snapshot. Let's wait a week, or unless your life is on the line, but try another thing before you try that. Just take a look, always understand and know what your medications, what the side effects are, and what the contraindications are. If you're not a student of what the things are that you put into your body, don't take them. You need to be that proactive and that involved. Remember, MD does not stand for medical deity. And remember too that doctors have had way less nutritional training, unfortunately, than I am, and even less of understanding what supplements do or do not do. So believe me, I've had lots of words with them. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. InflaCrusher is curcumin. That's all it is. But it's a pharmaceutical grade curcumin. It's not the kind that you put in a curry. And it gets into your body. It gets into the digestive tract, and that which is what you want. And it starts to cool inflammation. It is super helpful if you have any kind of inflammatory condition, if your A1C is high, if you have joint pain, etc. Fabulous stuff. You take it with your food. Hot milk mix. This is what I'm drinking. This is ketones with MCT oil and electrolytes. Electrolytes are fabulous, and I always, 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 always take them. They make you feel good. You know, electrolytes help you to balance. It's just fantastic stuff. The MCT oil put the ketones on steroids, and it helps you to stay in ketosis. But that doesn't mean that you could go, you know, eat a bunch of potato chips or anything. So don't do that. L-glutamine. I just showed you what to do with this. You put it in a dish, you put it into your mouth, and you kill cravings. It also helps your body to heal. If you have a leaky gut, it'll help to seal up those little junctures that are loose and open. And what I say to everyone is consider to yourself that you have a leaky gut. We all do. You know, we're a mess. Stress opens up those things. You know, stress is just so destructive. It's one of the things that it does. All right, Leptofix body butter things. I think I did them all. Did I? Oh, I'm going to go into the fiber emitter. So, Dina, that's what it is. Everything you take with a meal, because it, you know, it rides the wave of that food. It's just part of your food at that point. Except Leptofix SAMe first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, and the probiotic is taken at night. Your digestive enzymes are taken just before you eat, 15 minutes before you eat. It's real simple, and you know, you kind of get through it. And when you're taking all these things, you know, these are helping your body. It's a supplement, it's not a substitute. And you cannot out-supplement a bad diet. If you're eating a bunch of crap and driving through and whatever and think that you could, you know, take this one thing, no. That ain't gonna happen. So, you know me, I'm gonna be all over you like white on rice about getting your diet in shape, because it's just super important. All right, Dina, you have another one about a good fat substitute. Let me just, first of all, as soon as my computer works, I will, okay, there it is. What are good fat substitutes to use when doing keto, when you're supposed to be watching your fat intake due to poor genes, family medical history? Well, first of all, let's just talk about this. Your family history and your genetics are just a small, teensy-weensy portion of what's going on. If you're eating a bunch of crap, eating a bunch of bad fat, eating a bunch of stuff that is just off the chain, and you're dealing with, if you have an obesity problem, if you have a problem with, you know, your A1C's out of control, you have your blood sugar's out of control, your cholesterol's out of control, you can't blame it on your family history. You gotta blame it on what's on the end of your fork. Amen? You know, this might be what your family does. They get together and let's just eat a bunch of crap. I don't know. I mean, this very well could be. But genes only have so much to say. They express themselves when they're flipped on. You know how we flip them on? Poor eating, too much stress, not enough hydration, not enough sleep, and not enough exercise. All of that is a recipe for disaster. Down the hill you go. It will take you there. Hand to God, promise. It's promise. But what we need to do is we need to look at it from the opposite end of it. It is not bad fat. You don't need to substitute fat. What you need to do is take the fat out. I'm going to tell you exactly what to take out. All of those Wesson oils, all of that crappy oil crap that's out there, crappy, my word of the day is crap, by the way. I suggest instead you go with avocado oil. You go with good olive oil, and that's it. Then you use ghee, then you use butter, and that's it. Margarine? Oh, heck no. That's not food, that's crap. Years ago when Marla and I did we were in a conference, I did food or crap. I'd hold up something and ask the audience, food or crap? It was really fun. So you get it, where I'm going with all of this. Look at everything, anything with a package, anything with a label, look at the labels. Look at what the oils are. If you see cottonseed, soy, you know, what other kind of oils? Peanut, all of those oils. I've given you your oils. Only good oil. Those are the oils you use. The rest of it's crap. It's got to go. The other thing that you have to do is get in the good fats. We get good fat. We get good fat from avocados, from seeds, from eggs. All good fats. Fat is good. Good fat and bad fat are two very different things. So keep that in mind. Watching your fat intake. No, I want you to watch is bad fat intake, right? And use enough and use a little, but don't use a ton. You know, I mean, we had that one question from Joanne. 2 avocados a day is too much. Too much good food is inflammatory. Okay. Just remember that. We need to eat We need to train our hunger hormones again. I don't like soy at all, Alana. It is a phytoestrogen. There's a lot of things to it that I don't like it about. I don't have time to go through it right now. So why don't you, Alana, put in your question for next week, support@savingdinner.com, question for Leanne on Friday, and ask me about soy, and I'll go through the whole thing, because I can't do it right now. We're actually going overtime, and I want to make sure that I get everybody together. Is it better to get more fiber in a diet versus using the fiber mix? Okay, so this is the fiber mender. Let me say how much I recommend this, okay? I mean, I recommend this like for everybody should be on this. This is why. 5% of Americans get enough fiber. 5%. We need 25 to 30 grams a day, and I promise you, if you added it up, you are not getting enough, okay? So, we have taken our fiber, the little one that we used to have, the fiber mender, which was glucomannan, I loved. It's fantastic, but it only had one kind of fiber. This one has 4. So this is something that I formulated together with my formulator in Ohio. By the way, our supplements are all made right here in the United States. That's a biggie, because a lot of them are not. And you could, if I could tell you about the dirty places that there are out there, it's not good. Okay, so in this we have glucomannan, which is good for your blood sugar, your constipation levels. Glucomannan helps to make you full. It helps to bring down its slow absorption of food, which is great, because then, you know, it takes its time going through. It keeps you full longer. I mean, hello, that's what we want, right? The other thing is we want to deal with our constipation. I think we talked about that in enough graphic detail, right? You want to take care of constipation. You got to have the fiber in there. And you also need to deal with cholesterol. This is how you process your cholesterol, by the way. It gets digested and goes through your body. Fiber does that. The acacia gum that's in there is also good for digestion. It's good for IBS. It removes toxins because it absorbs them in and it takes them out, and it lowers the cholesterol. Flaxseed fiber, which is also in here. You know, flaxseed, ground flaxseed, I'm not really happy with. This is only the fiber. There's no oils in it because oils get rancid. There's no oils. It's just the fiber. This is really good though because it reduces the bad LDL. It's good for heart disease, cancer, and again for diabetes. It's amazing. The last one is called inulin, and inulin is like the prebiotic of prebiotics. Like I said, it feeds all the good guys, so you're getting all the good stuff in. It enhances your absorption of calcium. Calcium is very difficult to digest. This is one of the reasons we do it with a one-on-one, so that you'll digest it with the magnesium on our CalMag, on our Wise Women's CalMag. And the second reason why is we use this fiber is because that's where it's absorbed. All of your nutrients are absorbed in your gut. When your gut is on point, when you've got your digestion on point, which is exactly what this is, you've got 10 grams of fiber in there. Everything's going to keep moving. As long as you're hydrating as you go, remember what I said about the garbage disposal. Without flipping the switch, that means getting your fiber on point, drinking your water, hydrating the way you're supposed to, you're not going to have the digestion you want. And then further, I would add, you also need to make sure that if you have any of the symptoms that I was talking about, digeszymes or glucozyme, if you have blood sugar issues as well, to the rescue. It will make all the difference in the world. And you'll know this by your toilet habits, and you'll know this by the up and down. If you have the up and down with diarrhea one day and, you know, constipation the next, get on it. Seriously, it will help. So just one last word. The reason that I have all the supplements in my shop that I do is because you are me. We are women of a certain age, and these are the things that we need. These are crucial. These are central. And when we have the things that we need, our bodies feel better. Just ask anybody who's in here. You feel better. So is water kefir okay as slightly alcoholic? I don't know about alcoholic water kefir. No, the Wise Women's supplement vitamins are not on sale, and they won't be, because what we've done, this is what we've done. We got a screaming deal on them, and we are going to keep, and we've got, because we bought in such bulk, and we've passed the savings on to you. So they will never be on sale, but I'm telling you, $59 for 4 quality supplements is ridiculous. And again, we pass the savings on to you. I don't know how long this will be able to keep this price, because as they jack up our prices, we have to do the same thing. So, I haven't had that happen yet from my supplier, but I'm kind of buckling down for it. Again, back to supply chain. It's only about what you can do. But Joanne's right. She said all of our supplements are amazing. They are. They are to support your healthy, vibrant life that you want to lead. We went way over. We've had an hour and 15-minute show, y'all. But listen, tomorrow I will not be here. Not at all. I won't be here. Here's the thing. I'm going to be on at 9 a.m. tomorrow doing our conference with Marla. We're bringing it all to you. Absolutely everything, and I want you there. If you want to get your house in order, you want to get your body in order, you want to get your nutrition on point, you want to plan to leave with and knowing what you're going to do next, and if you want to join a bunch of amazing women and be a part of a community that wants to lead a vibrant life, this is for you. This is for you. Go to saveyourdinner.com/house. All the details are there, including all the juicy yummies that you're going to get in that swag bag, worth $140, by the way. And it'll give you a link. Once you sign up, you will get an email in the mail telling you exactly what you need in order to get into the conference starting at 9 a.m. sharp. Now, if you live on the West Coast, that's an early morning for you. But this is why God created coffee. So just come anyway, all right? You're welcome so much. Thank you so much for coming, you guys, and thanks for all of your great questions. 19 hours until the webinar. I'm going to tell you what, we're jumping out of our skins. I expect to see my lovelies there. I expect it. So show up. Be dressed as shoes. Be ready to go. Have your hydration station set. Get your pen and your pencil and your gold stars and your highlighter and your notebook, and let's get busy. I want you to leave tomorrow at 5 p.m. and going, that's the best thing I've ever done in my life. This is the best investment I've ever made in myself. I talked about that the other day, by the way. It's here. It's not an expense. It's an investment in yourself. Invest in yourself. I love you guys. And I think you're great and wonderful. And I can't wait for tomorrow. See you then. I will not be on live, obviously, here. But I'll see you Sunday if you're not going to be there tomorrow. Pinkies up. I want to see you. Peace out. Love you guys.